The NASCAR Cup Series hasn't seen a new track added to the schedule since 2012, and that was Kentucky. Fun fact, I was at that race. Haven't been since, unfortunately. But anyways, that's besides the point. Fans have been asking for some new tracks to be added to the schedule, whether they be old tracks like Rockingham or new tracks like Iowa and Canadian Tire. But they've been asking for quite a while now, and a lot of hope has built up due to the recent, supposed 2021 huge schedule change, which might not happen because of the whole situation going on right now. But we're still holding on hope there. But a lot of fans have been asking for some new tracks added to the schedule. So today I'm gonna be breaking down your tracks you want to see on the schedule and my top five, I guess you could say, that I would like to see join into NASCAR. There's probably one or two pipe dreams on there, and then three actually legitimate reasons. So be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into today's video.
Lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the
So I'm sorry if I go kind of through this pretty quick, but I could probably spend 20 minutes talking about what everybody said. So I'm just going to go ahead and just go through everybody's list real quick and move on to my picks. But first here we got the legendary Chinry 20. He said Iowa, Gateway, and Nashville. Next up we got Riley Goff here. He said North Wilkesboro, Gateway, or Rockingham. We got Daniel or Spieling D. I heard to say. He said Nashville Fairgrounds, Iowa, Gateway, IRP, that's Lucas Oil if you didn't know, Montreal, Road America, Sebring, Daytona Infield, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, sounds like a person, but it is actually a track in Mexico, and Portland. He also said heavy on short tracks and road courses. I want a slightly oval heavy balance with more short tracks and way more right turns. Go international too. I agree with that. I think that's a good direction for the sport. Mike McCoy here says CVG still deserves a cup race. Rockingham, Nashville, and Iowa. Those seem to be the four most popular ones there. Maybe Canadian Tire as well. ESAM or the other ship says The Rock. If it hasn't been said enough, this is true. I don't think it can be said enough, but Circuit of the Americas, Iowa, Gateway, or any of the Xfinity road courses would be awesome additions. Yeah, Mid-Ohio and Road America would be pretty good ones. Mason Henry here says Mosport, Montreal, Sebring, Road Atlanta, Rockingham, IRP, like I said, Lucas Oil, Truck for the Truck and Xfinity, or Xfinity, whatever his intentions were, which I agree. I don't know if that could ever really be a Cup Series race. But for the Truck and Xfinity, that'd be a pretty good race. It was actually an Xfinity race, I believe, and probably a truck race. Gateway, Iowa, Pikes Peak. That's an old one. I watched an IndyCar race there for some reason the other day, but that's a pretty good one. Obviously, the oval. I guess there's like a whole like big old road course endurance race or something like that there, but that's pretty cool. But Portland and Nashville Fairgrounds as well. Portland's one that you don't really hear about a lot, so I do like seeing that. Scott McCann here says Montreal, Pikes Peak, The Rock, and North Wilkesboro. Socially distant quarantine E. Dale here says Montreal, Rockingham, Memphis. This one we haven't heard. Nashville, Portland, Mosport. And if you don't know Mosport is a Canadian Tire. I actually didn't know this. I saw this and I looked it up, so don't worry, you're not alone. Laguana Seca, probably said that wrong, but 1 like equals 1. Sensitivity training so I can learn how to say that. Irwindale, IRP, North Wilkes, Hickory. That's a good one. That's a short track. I'm not sure, where is Hickory? I don't know. That's a short track south of Boston. That's the good one. I watched a Wayland modified race there. Myrtle Beach, Suzuka. Where do they run a race there? I think they do. I could be wrong though. Motegi. That's an oval. Mexico City. That's a good one. Road America, Daytona, and Spa. And I forget Spa, but I know it's a race. Okay. Road America. This is by One Final Time or Falcon Wielder. Sorry if I said that wrong. Road America, Gateway, Iowa, Gills. Let's just say Montreal. It's Montreal. I also did not know this. Had to look it up as well. Mosport, which is obviously Canadian Tire. And he says as long as we go to Canada, which I agree with, and probably Mexico as well. And if the dudes who brought Rockingham are serious, serious about reviving it, go back there too. Nathan here, or Big Nate 11. I like that name. I don't know why. I like road courses, but let's not oversaturate with them. So here's my list. I agree with that. Philosophy as well. Gateway, Nashville, Rockingham, Montreal, and Road America. Good list. Those are probably the more popular ones. And also I agree with it saying great track, big city. Chevy 48 or Chevy Chevelle 48 said Iowa, Gateway, Rockingham, Circuit, Montreal, Road America, and Laguna Seca. Like I said, 1 like equals 1 sensitivity training, so then I can learn how to say that word. East Scotty Sprinkle says, how many times can I say North Wilkesboro? Not enough, my dude. Not enough. Also, The Rock, Nashville, Iowa, Circuit of the Americas, WWT, which is Gateway, and Eldora. Eldora is one we haven't heard yet. I thought I'd hear more of that. So we got a legend here, an Unloaded Cube. Twitter legend right there, a Bowman fan. I'm not a Bowman fan, but also my hair is out. I did not put a hat on. That's kind of cool. I'll have to fix that. But so Unloaded Cube legend. He's a Bowman fan. And yeah, he said Road America, Canadian Tire, Gateway, Iowa, North Wilkesboro, and maybe Nashville. That's probably right here is your 6 most popular ones, and that's just because he's a legend. He knows what he's doing. So yep, there's that, and that is everyone. So make sure to follow my Twitter if you haven't already, because you can be featured in these videos. And let's go ahead and get into today's video. Thank you for also thank you for replying if you did, and let's get into today's video. Before my honorable mentions, we're going to start off with Gateway. Yes, it's an IndyCar picture. I like the IndyCar race here, so I use an IndyCar picture. I'm sorry. Anyways, it's definitely brought great racing in the truck and Xfinity series, and it'd definitely be the St. Louis market, a new market, so that would be a nice place to go to. But for some reason, I don't want it on the schedule as much as others. Maybe it's because I'm literally terrible at driving on NASCAR Heat, which is a terrible thing to say and a terrible reason for it. Me not to want it on the schedule, but I definitely want it on the schedule or not put it on my top 5, I guess. But it also feels like one that pretty much everybody thinks. I kind of want to do some tracks that maybe people don't think, wouldn't think to be in my top 5, but definitely a great track, and I definitely would not care and probably actually want it on the Cup schedule. Moving on, we got shit, I already forgot. Road America, but it threw me off because I think this is actually a picture of Sonoma, so ignore that, or the Glen, I mean. Ignore that. I looked up Road America Xfinity series, and this is what came up. So there's that. I could be wrong. I haven't watched a Road America race in a while, so it could be that. But just the blue threw me off. Anyways, back on topic here. Road America is a great race. I've seen some pretty good racing there, but apparently not if I haven't seen it in a while. But I don't know. I feel like it's really long, and I feel like that has kind of held it back from what I've noticed or heard. So if they can figure out the logistics of it, then definitely can see it on the schedule. But I mean, it's a pretty good track though. And yeah. Now Nashville is also going to be on this because I don't know why. There's something that holds it back for me being in my top 5. And I hope it does end up getting on the schedule, gets back at least on Xfinity or truck race. If it goes on the Cup schedule, I won't complain. It's just simply not in my top 5, but it's probably number 6. It'd probably be my number 6. Number 5, I guess this isn't really in any order, but our first one here is Rockingham Speedway, and I'm not even going to lie, this is a hell of a pipe dream if I've ever seen one. I don't know the logistics of it. I don't think it's very high on the logistics scale, but I love this track. I've watched 2 races here. Obviously both reruns, but I've watched 2 races here, and I love the racing here, especially that Matt Kenseth Casey Kane finish. But the racing here, it's unique, it's different, it's still enjoyable, and I'd really love to see this back on the schedule. I feel like it might even rival Bristol for my favorite track if it comes back. So now you have to bring it back, NASCAR. You definitely do. But yeah, kind of a pipe dream, but still at the same time, I feel like a lot of people would love to see this back on the schedule. using pictures for IndyCar at Toronto road or city course, I guess you call it, but I'll explain that in a little bit. But my fourth one is a city course of any kind. I think there's been talks of Houston, there's been talks of LA, Chicago, any of those, cities, obviously. But I think Toronto would be a great one. And this could just be because it's IndyCar, but all I've watched of really IndyCar, I've watched a couple races, like miscellaneous races, but I've always watched the Indy 500. And a couple years ago, I decided to watch the Toronto road course race. And I thought it was just going to be one-off one, but ever since, I have made sure that I watch it. I don't know why, I just like it so much there. The first race was definitely very interesting, and now, just like the Indy 500, I watch the Toronto city course every year for no apparent reason, but I like it. That's why I chose the pictures. And I think maybe NASCAR should look into using these same courses that. I don't know the logistics of it, but there's that. They definitely are looking into adding a road course. But any road course that's in a city, in a market like that, I won't complain at all. I'd be happy with it. I do think we'll see one, and one should be added by the end of the decade, which is a long time. So you have a long time to do it, NASCAR. Next up is COTA, Circuit of the Americas, COTA, whatever you want to call it. This track, located in Texas, has had quite a few fans asking for it to be added to the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. There have been a couple rumors of talks of it being added to the Cup Series schedule. Tony Stewart ran in I believe, was it a Cup car? It was a stock car of some sort at this track. Feels like it's been a couple months now. It's been I think it was back in 2019. I could be wrong though, but that's just spitballing. But anyways, that's not the point. I've watched a couple of F1 races here, and I watched last year's IndyCar race and saw some pretty good racing. But I feel like this is a very unique track with its own characteristics that are pretty different from most road courses. I think this would add some new stuff to the NASCAR schedule, just a new track, obviously, but a different type of road course that is nothing like Watkins Glen. Sorry if I said that wrong. And Sonoma, it'd be a little different, and I would definitely like seeing it on the schedule, and I think there's a lot of people out there as well. Next up is Iowa, and Iowa is a track that pretty much everybody wants on the schedule. I don't think there's many people that don't want it on the schedule, and the only thing that's really holding it back is probably its attendance. There's only I don't know if it's really attendance, but its capacity is only 30,000. And for a Cup Series race, not very good if you only have 30,000. But what is Phoenix? Phoenix is like 35,000 to 40,000, so it's not that far off. But they could get some more seats out there, which is kind of ironic because a lot of tracks are downsizing. If they could get up to like 40,000 capacity, I don't think it'd be much problem. So long as they fill those stands, which only half the stands are filled here with only a 30,000 capacity. But then again, it's an Xfinity race. Nobody really cares about an Xfinity race. But anyways, that's beside the point. The racing here is great. It's produced great racing throughout the Xfinity and Truck Series. I think that would only translate to the Cup Series, and it's multi-groove. Like you can run the outside here, unlike Richmond, which is kind of a similar track but smaller. You can run the outside here and the inside. It's a multi-lane track, and I think that would produce great racing. It's what we need in NASCAR. And like I said, this is my video. This is my top 5 video, not NASCAR's top 5 video. So if NASCAR wants to complain about attendance, yeah. But this is my personal opinion. Quick plug, I use this picture right here in my John Hunter Nemechek video. You guys should go check that out after this one. It's about how he's pretty underrated. So put a card up there and put it at the end. But you should go check that out as well if you haven't already. But anyways, back to the video. My number 1 is Canadian Tire. Now, the big thing holding it back, just like Iowa, is its attendance. And not just, maybe its attendance might be sellout, but the capacity. The capacity is only 8,000. That is incredibly small. And if they ever want to get at least an Xfinity date, they're going to have to up it. But I really want a Cup date. I mean, just look at this finish right here. That is a norm here. There's great finishes all the time here. And pretty much every race you see them, beating and bang into the finish. There's so much controversy here, and it's only been here for not that long. I'm not sure how long exactly, but it hasn't been here for that long. And this race just is, I love it. It's something that I watch all the time. This is really what really changed my mind on road courses. For some reason I hated it, don't know why, but yeah, this track is great. I love it. And there's Justin Haley winning. Look right behind him. There's more crashing, battling, scraping for each win that you can get, and it's great. And if they can find an investor or something that can, get them more seats around the track or at the track, that can boost its capacity up to probably in the 3,000s to 4,000 or 30,000s to 40,000, sorry, range, then I think we could see them in a Cup Series, race. For example, Watkins Glen, I said it wrong, in Sonoma, they have around 30,000 to 40,000 seats. They need to get around that range in order to get on the schedule. Maybe even since it's such great racing, they might be able to get away with in the 20,000s. But still, this track is great. I mean, I just for this video I went back and watched some finishes there, and there was countless. There was some that I missed, and they need to somehow find a way to get more seats there so then NASCAR can move it up the series, and hopefully this track gets on the schedule. If you don't agree with me, if you don't think this track should be on the schedule, just go watch some races there. It's always a great battle. There's if there's not a great battle, there's fuel strategy. There's always something there. There's always controversies. There's been about 20 million fights there, it seems like, and it hasn't been in the Truck Series for that long. So I really love to see the Canadian Tire here if we can find a way to get some seats. That is all for today. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and comment down below your guys' thoughts. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on this video was. Do you think Canadian Tire really deserves one? I really want to know what you guys think about Canadian Tire, because Canadian Tire is a track that I feel heavily about wanting in the Cup Series. So let me know what you guys think about that. Also, let me know what you guys think about all the other tracks. Let me know if you haven't already. Let me know what tracks you want to see on the schedule. And yeah, that's all I got for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.